They'll tell you this story starts in Greece. Bronze shields, marble columns, men in white robes reciting Homer by firelight. It doesn't. The story begins here, on grass with no name, sung in a tongue no one alive speaks anymore, by people who would never once call themselves Greek. Because Greece hasn't been born. Rome is yet to be incubated. Almost nothing you'll call the ancient world has even happened yet. And yet the story already burning in their chests, around that fire, on those pastures, burns in yours, right now, whether you've ever heard their names or not. There's a phrase at the center of the Iliad, Kleos aphthiton, imperishable fame. Achilles is faced with the oldest dilemma any warrior knows. A long life no one remembers, or a short existence the world never forgets. We know what choice he made. Now travel 3,000 miles east into the Rigveda, the oldest surviving sacred verse in Sanskrit, sung by people who never laid eyes on Greece nor heard the word Hellene. And we find the same phrase, bone for bone, breath for breath, imperishable fame. This is no two poets landing on the same line by clever accident. It's one voice, caught in two different places, saying the same thing they always have, because the truth remains. Somewhere behind Greek, behind Sanskrit, behind English, behind nearly every tongue spoken from India to Iceland, one people already believes something that has never once let go of us. There is a kind of glory that refuses to die. This isn't something you learn, but a principle we inherit. Picture the ground this came from, the Pontic-Caspian steppe, modern Ukraine, southern Russia, the edge of Kazakhstan, grass running to every horizon with nothing to stop it, no fences, no borders, nothing standing between a man and the whole world but his belief in what's possible and his own nerves. Cattle weren't property to these people. Cattle were proof of worth, of standing, of a god's favor resting on a house. And wealth that walks on four legs gets taken and taken back. The raid wasn't a crime out here. It was the forge a boy walked into and a warrior walked out of. Riding out with nothing, riding home with a herd, and the first line of a name the world remembers. Their dead are still out there. Kurgans, earthen mounds raised over warriors buried with their weapons, their harness, sometimes their horses beside them, because they expected to ride somewhere after this. Not men laid to rest, men sent off, still owed their glory. This is the ground everything else grows from. No myth, just conviction, older than any nation, that a single life could be made to mean something if a man is willing to pay the price. And from that ground, the first great story rises. And it keeps rising, over and over, in every nation this people's children would go on to build, wearing a new face, but never a new heart. A monster, coiled, serpentine, 3 heads more often than not, steals what the people live by. A hero goes after it, not on a god's command, because leaving it stolen was unthinkable. He kills the beast. He drives the herd home. And in that single act, he becomes the measure every warrior after him spends his life reaching for. You already know him, even if no one ever told you his name. He is Herakles, driving the cattle of three-bodied Garon across the earth to bring them home. He is Indra, shattering the serpent, Vritra, to loose the waters and wealth it hoarded. He is Thraetaona in Iran, striking down the three-headed Dahaka. Different tongues singing the same man, because every branch of this story needed to remember what a life was for. Reaching back far enough to find it beneath every mask, Trito, the third. He's still there, holding up every one of these stories from underneath, the way a root holds up a tree that has long since forgotten it was ever a seed. Every serpent slayer you've ever known, Perseus and the Gorgon, Beowulf and his dragon, St. George on his horse, is a grandchild of a story told on open grass, thousands of years before any of those names existed, about a man who refused to let something sacred be taken without retribution. Nearly everywhere this story traveled, it carried with it a pair of divine twin horsemen, riders who come for the lost, the shipwrecked, the warrior stranded far from everyone he's ever known. In Greece, Castor and Pollux, the Dioscuri. In Vedic India, the Ashvins. Same twins, same horses, same promise, made in language after language for thousands of years. You will not be left out there alone. This is no theory, but the path this story blazed. A people with no writing, no cities, nothing but grass and horses and cattle worth dying for, held the truth in their chests, that a hero could win back what was stolen, and that some glory outlives the man who earns it. This was never entertainment around a fire. It was how they told their children why one human life could matter at all. This truth did not survive through being phrased well. It's carried on, hand to hand, voice to voice, mother to child, warrior to apprentice, across thousands of years and continents alike, the way a heartbeat carries on without anyone listening for it. And then, on the coast of Anatolia, that same fire, still burning after thousands of years, hands passing it forward. It's breathed into a war at Troy and a voyage home across a wine-dark sea. Achilles doesn't reference the old dragon slayer. He is the fire, wearing new armor, asking the same question every ancestor before him already had. Is a short life that means something worth more than a long one that doesn't? Odysseus doesn't echo the twins' old promise. He becomes it. The moment he understands no one is coming, and he has to be his own rescuer, the way that promise was once made for men exactly like him. The Iliad and the Odyssey are not two clever poems that happen to survive. They are the last two sparks of a fire that was carried, by hand, for longer than most nations have existed. And it didn't stay in one place. It traveled to Persia, to India, into the Norse sagas, into Celtic myth, into more of the world than most people were ever taught to see as connected. this story belongs to far more people than anyone is willing to honestly say. The flame Greece carried was already ancient in its own hands, inherited from further back than any nation can claim as its own, and we will return to where it was first lit, the warrior spirit that rode out on the open grass and called it destiny, the belief, older than any flag, that some fame outlives the man who earns it. That flame never went out. Odds are, its coals still smolder within you now. Whether anyone ever told you where it came from, this is the Odyssey. We're here to carry the fire.